Hi, welcome. So, I've been drawing, which has been fun. I've been drawing some sketches from Pinterest, but they're all bad, which is really sad. um, yeah, they're not technically that good, so I'm going back to the basics. I bought this book, Learn How to Draw, from Half Price Books. It was only $9.99, so that's what made it right for me. But also it's like a course. They have weekly prompts to go through. So yeah, I thought might as well try it. Week one was really about getting lines correct, which I really needed help with. Also just basic shapes and starting to get into tones and textures. The book was pretty helpful. It gave you what you should do, but also description of what the author is thinking of how you should approach each exercise. So yeah, this is the format. Liked it. I really wanted to do this with my favorite pen, but it ran out and I was way too lazy to go out and get another one. So instead, I'm drawing digitally. I'm drawing digital. I can't even say it. I'm drawing with Photoshop, okay? So the agenda is follow the drawing exercises, experiment with Photoshop, and yeah. So for the first day, I really wanted to get through the basic shapes exercise. It's really something you should do. I'm gonna try to do like 5 minutes every day before my real drawing session because it was really helpful. So, yeah, I haven't really used Photoshop before. I mean, a little bit. I took a photography class in high school and we worked with Photoshop, but I haven't really drawn before. And I just got this pen. I just got this new laptop, the Surface Pro 9, so I'm like, less experiments. So yeah, I'm just drawing basic shapes. Even though I thought I understood basic shapes, just going through it made me realize like my circles are not even close to being perfect. They're sloppy, they're messy. So going through this exercise was really helpful. Right now, I try to do it with my eyes closed. It's funny how they all turned out pretty similar. I got really obsessed with circles. I did this later that day too, like just a whole page of circles. I felt like I was a mad person. I feel like that's how this circle thing looks, but I got really interested in trying to understand what a circle is. You already have a vague understanding of a concept, but then when you focus in again on it, like the specific details, you kind of forget it as a concept and you have to relearn it. I feel like that's what I went through with this like basic drawing exercise. Here are some of my triangles. I got really useful advice from the book to start with a circle at at the center of a triangle to make it equilateral. Yeah, I never really thought about that, but it's very helpful. Squares come pretty easily to me, so I don't know, it felt like a break from the hard work of drawing circles and triangles. And here is what I accomplished the first day. Those diamonds look jacked up, but we'll work on that later. I worked on that later that day. Didn't film it, but still working on those. It's pretty difficult. So the next lesson was really about understanding shading. I think this was the day that I started to experiment with the pencil textures on Photoshop, and I really like them. They seem very very, I don't know, reactive. This is where I really experimented with how hard I pushed down, which I didn't think the computer would be reactive to, but no, it works like a pencil. So the harder I draw, the darker the segment will be. So yeah, it was interesting to experiment with that. I got sort of obsessed with it because it was fun. It was fun. It was like really drawing on paper. For this lesson, I don't think the book was really that helpful. I was just trying to, I mean, the book was helpful because they have pictures of what the author wants you to do, but the description really wasn't that helpful. I mean, I think the concept is pretty easy to understand, but I don't know. I feel like maybe there will be a lighting lesson later on. Yeah, I don't think this was really helpful in understanding how to understand light. It wasn't really a light study, which I guess is understandable. But what they did tell me is this technique and how to make a cube, which I found really helpful, like having the width be 2 times the length. That was very, very helpful. I like that a lot. Doing these basic exercises on paper might have been boring, but I really enjoyed doing the digital version of it, mostly because I was experimenting so much and it was so new to me. So I was I was like really obsessed with it. Like, these drawings, should have only done them for like 10 minutes because that's how the book recommends you to do it, but I did this for mostly an hour each session, just trying to figure out Photoshop a little bit, understand how things worked. The lighting for the cube wasn't that difficult to understand. So the next day, I wanted to experiment with other textures, and I wanted to experiment with blending a little bit more, or the blend tool on Photoshop. It was very interesting. It never really ended up like I thought it would. Like, I tried multiple attempts on this, and it was not working out the way I wanted it to. So I'm just gonna have to experiment with the blend tool later. It's the basic way to draw, but right now, I mean, as you'll see, the circles are very, instead of being smooth transition, which I wanted it to be, it seems more like a ghost circle, and a ghost ball, and that's really not what I wanted to go for. Instead of blending, I thought one good idea might be trying to use different colors. So I use a dark black, a gray, and like a light gray, and that was sort of better than using just a blend tool. I used the blend tool as well to blend those 3 colors, and I think that's a better strategy than what I've been doing before. But still, I obviously need a lot more practice. But it was really fun to experiment. I kind of sound like I'm negative right now, but I loved experimenting with all these tools. Yeah, but this day was really fun because I was just experimenting with the different textures Photoshop has. And it's just fun it was like getting a new toy, honestly. I was just playing around, having fun. So the next day, I wanted to experiment with color. I wanted to try to customize my colors a little bit. I'm doing pretty much the same exercises as the last day, but now with color. Cheered me up, especially since I was doing at least this drawing session later at night, like at 8 or 9 when I was tired. So the colors cheered me up a bit. And I like how, like, it's just so soothing. It's meditative, really, just doing these couple of shapes over and over and over again. So the next day, I was working with textures. Lesson plan walked me through a couple of textures, grass, wood. So I only got to a couple of them this week. I'm gonna continue with one of them next week. Grass I found to be sort of the easiest, mostly because I'm already interested in nature. So I've been already trying to understand how grass looks like, how grass could be drawn in pictures. So that one was kind of like a review for me. Still fun, still very fun. I like how tall this grass is too. And I think I like the pencil feature a lot on Photoshop, so that's what I've been mainly using as like a default. It doesn't even look that good on camera, honestly, the pencils always give me comfort because I feel like I could experiment a bit more, while pens are much more intimidating because you can't back out of your mistakes. Like, you are really pigeonholed to your, not mistakes, but I don't want to call it mistakes, but like things that have not gone as you want them to have gone. But the wood section was fun with all the loopy textures. Yeah, I really like that section. And then the fur was by far the most difficult texture to get. It's very detail oriented. I still don't think that I have the softness of fur down just yet. Like that one, I don't know. That looks like a bald animal right there. At least for the first block of fur, it looks too bald. So I tried to go a little more, fur-like texture. And I do think I accomplished that in the second version. But still, it's still a bit bald. It has alopecia. This animal has alopecia. At least I saw what the issue is and I tried to fix it. But even now looking at it, it's a bit too bald for my liking. I think the second version came out better. So yeah, that's all for this week. Next week, I'm gonna tackle one of my greatest fears, which is the texture of water.